Welcome, guys. Welcome to Talking with Wizards.
Welcome back. Jeremy, we have been having this amazing conversation.
I was just about to say, we've already had some heated debate and we haven't even gone live yet.
I know. Oh, so many things to talk about, but always, this is so much fun. I look forward to this time with you.
This is actually going to feel like a radio show, isn't it? It's like we're like Fraser on the radio, a talk show.
Right, exactly. And there's so many things that we can touch on. But yeah, what was the Fraser and who is it? I'm Roz. Is that right?
Oh,
We're gonna for those that remember the show, Fraser. I mean, we're dating ourselves to some degree.
Yeah, so before we've gone on air, we've touched on monkeypox, we've touched on Richard Hart and crypto, and we've touched on school shootings. So we don't know, are we going to bring up those subjects? This is a session that's about all things spiritual, but all things spiritual in the 21st century we live in. So some of those questions may come up.
Yeah, and there's you have to lean into the scratchy part of the world, unfortunately, and there's a lot of difficult things out there by all means. And one of the things that we're going to talk about, of course, today was the Nornians and the weaving of Wyrd, right? Our orlogs. And gosh, there's a lot of threads happening in the world that are really hard to lean into. So
yeah, and it questions your faith in spirituality when things come, but it is what it is. It is Gununga Gap, the void, all the things that ever will be, all the things that never will be, and it is just the world we live in, and we have to find our way to find our peace. I was talking to somebody else about this week, and it's not that I don't like being parts of groups that sit around the fire and drum and sing to change the frequency of the world to bring world peace. I actually think I would rather just live my life in a way that sets an example to others. And because I know those terrible things happen in the world, and I'm just trying to do my thing to honor my ancestors, honor the land, and be happy in my time before I have to face one of those very negative, traumatic situations that all of us will face at some times in our lives. And if we just, this is the thing that's come up a lot, the path between the empath and the warrior. The empath, and most of us who are listening and tuning into this are empaths. So when we watch the news, we watch the TV, we feel all the pain of everybody else, and it's too much. We get overloaded with it. Whereas a warrior is totally detached. So somewhere in the middle is a happy mark that we have to take.
I was having a conversation with someone yesterday about community, since you brought that up a little bit. And what is the meaning of community, and what is community in today's society, right? And in many ways, there's that thread that it's not rhetoric. It's just like, you've got to find your community. But sometimes finding community is so difficult, is hard, especially when you're on a really spiritual journey. Having community, and so anyway, it was a very interesting conversation. It was very eye-opening for me to have it. But we're here to support each other in whatever way, and in the moment, that is perfection, right? So in this moment, this is perfection. You and I,
we're around a fire. Nobody's judging anyone. Nobody's not feeling like an outsider. You can all ask what you want, and I know I'm a approaching 60-year-old man who works as a wizard for his living. It's very hard for me to go up to a guy in a pub and say, "Hello, mate, how are you?" I say, "What do you do for a living?" And I say, "I'm a wizard." End of conversation. Because it's too much for the average guy to take. So that's why when I go to I play poker. When I play poker and cards, everyone just accepts me as a gambler. I'm ultimately just part of the community, and I can crack jokes, and it gives me a sense of being. Very hard to find in the spiritual world, and hopefully that's what this will be. Easier in Glastonbury, but in Glastonbury, you don't get any break from it either. It's all too much. You can only be spiritual so many hours a day before you get the screaming Ned Flanders and want to run down the road. So we need a bit of both.
Yeah, we do. We absolutely do. And I can go down that deeply spiritual thing 24/7. So sometimes to ground back into the other side of reality is really, really important. And thank you for everybody who's joining us. And Jana, I wanted to acknowledge your comment as well. And you're right. There are any communities will buoy you at times, but at other times, they hold you back. And it's just about leaning into what feels right for you in the moment, because it's all an evolutionary process, you know. Teachers come in and out, mentors come in and out, people come in and out. It's all about acknowledging when it's time to fly for a bit, and sometimes you come back to the nest. So it's all good.
And what I've been doing at the moment to step away from the spiritual world, normally I would watch Love Island, which is incredibly shallow, but it just makes me laugh. But at the moment, I've been watching the Johnny Depp Amber Heard court case.
Oh, you're going down that route, huh?
Yeah, and it's just amazing how much the truth doesn't matter. The truth doesn't matter in a court case. It's just about what one side can prove or the other one can prove. And where's the truth and the justice? And it's just the amount of money that's being spent on that and the amount of airtime. And I'm equally as responsible. I'm giving it airtime. But once again, it's a great distraction.
Well, but see, that's the key, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. Why is it such a distraction at this moment in time? Because it's keeping, in my opinion, again, there's no ever any judgment here, but it's like, so we're leaning into that and millions of people are watching it, but what else is going on behind the scenes? Well, there's Davos and there's this and there's all these other things that are going on, but you have to escape. You do. There is that. So I've started, because we spend so much time on our phones and our devices, that every night I just have to put it away. I have to put it away. And I've got to start reading again. You know, I read, but I always read for spiritual reasons or for expansion, which I'm still an advocate of, but I have to go away. So I've been picking up other things to take my mind out of technology and out of reality, but through a book, because I haven't held a book in a long time. Everything is so digital.
So, you know, I'm like Kells. I mean, I've actually burnt myself out on crypto at the moment, studying so much.
Right.
I don't think I can watch any more videos because I've absorbed as much as I can absorb, and now I'm just watching the same stuff over and over again. I went, okay, can't do that anymore. And it's the same when you walk on a spiritual path. When you start learning something, if you learn the most you can learn about something, and then you start trying to find something new, it becomes harder and harder and harder. So you've sort of reached as far as you can go on that.
Yeah. Well, that pendulum swings, right? The pendulum, you go over here and you study and you immerse yourself, and then you swing back over here, and then you have to integrate, and then, you know, you're kind of sitting in the middle again. So
yeah, we find things that absorb our attention and we go, oh, great, I love this. And I go right into it. I love shows like Game of Thrones where I can lose myself and escape into the world of magic and history and swords. And I wanted to talk about that today as well. We've never talked about this on the live show, about how history, there's no responsibility for what they show about history either. If they don't show the truth of history, how do we learn?
Right.
How do we learn from our mistakes? You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's where, you know, to really dive into it, you have to be willing to peel back all the curtains, because there's a lot of curtains out there. Where's Oz? Where's the Wizard of Oz behind all those curtains? Who's really, you know, painting the pictures for us? So
I'm going to put something out there. Of the people who are watching, does anyone have any questions about the Norns?
And do people know who I think we've touched on it before, but who the Norns are?
Yeah.
You know, the past, the present, the future, the weavers of fate. I refer to them as the cosmic. It's the cosmic energy is where the weavers of the threads of the cosmos is how I connect with the Nornian energy as well.
I'm trying to think of the poem that the first time they're mentioned in the Havamal, I think it is. There is a great and mighty tree, it is called Yggdrasil, and from that tree comes the dust that is scattered on the valleys each morning. From there, hence the dew comes. Beneath that great tree, there is a mighty hall of Wyrd. And up from under the ground come 3 maids of much knowing. Skuld is one, Verdandi another. Scoring on boards, Skuld is the third. And that's how they're mentioned in the Havamal. So we have this question in the Celtic traditions. The trilogy is a maid, a mother, and crone. But in the Havamal, they're called 3 maids of much knowing. So are they 3 young women? We don't know. That's for you to interpret how they appear to you. and we have and it's interesting when we think of, so Skald is obviously the youngest one because she's the future, but just by her name alone, Skald, we imagine that's the oldest one.
Right. Wyrd, Verdandi, and Skald. So yeah, absolutely. You know, but Wyrd, to me, has a very, I don't want to say an unforgiving energy, but more of a scolding energy. You know, like I'm going to tell you, wagging her finger at you. No, you've been there before. You should know better. Learn from the past type energy for me. So.
Yeah. So it's like what it was, what it is, what it might be.
Right.
The skull, there's possibility, and those futures can be changed. But Wyrd and Verdandi, the past is what it is. We cannot change it. We can learn and reassess what we've experienced, but we can't change the experience. And Verdandi is, this is the tools, this is the moment, this is what you've got. It's too late to change it, but the way you perceive it and act, you can do with. Skald is the only one where we can use the energy of the gods and the runes to help guide us to navigate those days yet to come.
Yeah, to solve those riddles, because I mean, since we're talking about the Norns, of course, we have our Decoding the Archetypes class that is beginning on June 6th. And we really use the Nornian energy within that. But when we first started that class, that is not what we expected to have happen, to have the Nornian energy be the ones that really lead it. But it is dealing with that past, present, and what you want the future to be.
Yeah, and it was interesting the way that came about. Came about from one of our students, Bridget, who wanted us to go in. Somebody had also done the initiation and wanted us to to delve further into the archetypes. And I thought, well, okay, we'll do it. And it was straight away in the first class, the Norns came up and they wanted each of the people sitting around the fire of this gathering to experience each archetype in the past, the present, and the future.
Yeah.
And to recognize the lessons from the past and the present and to change the way they see them in the future. And it just sort of took over the whole class. And so that will be the way that class is run, in their honor, in their service, and we just work in their stead.
Yeah, it's really amazing, their energy. And those of you that are familiar with it, if you have any information or a comment you want to post, if you've worked with the Nornians before, or if you're familiar with it, absolutely share anything that you would like to in the thread.
Yeah, and we've also got another class starting, which is advanced rune reading, which I've never done before. But it's for people who already know the runes and want to see how to go deeper, how to just with the runes, not the shamanic path. It's just working with the runic energies. So we'll do readings, we'll give it example readings, we'll watch each other read through the class, and we can make comments on it. Also, we will look at videos of other people, how they read, and maybe look at some historical stuff. And I will be leading the class, but others are welcome to bring their knowledge, what they've learned along the path. Because we all, when you learn the runes with me, or you know the runes to start with, there'll be some people who maybe join this class who know the runes already, and they'll have their interpretations. And it's good to sit in council with the runes. So when you cast 3 runes, what do you get? And nobody's right or wrong. It's just what you see. And some will be very psychic, and some will be matter of fact.
Yeah.
It's how you read the runes. That's it.
Absolutely. And I think as time has progressed, as it has, I think reading just evolves. Your reading evolves over time. So whether or not you've been reading for a short amount of time or a longer amount of time, the energies and the way they present themselves just morph based on our own evolution. You know, like even beginning to interpret some of the throws, as we've talked about in the past, the dragon runes, they have different energies as well.
It was interesting. I'll probably first talk, apart from Kelly's rune class, I did a 1-day workshop on the runes in Glastonbury. Oh my God, must have been 2010, I think. So that was before I went to America. I was in Glastonbury, and I was just doing a talk on the runes, and we were talking about them. And I was showing, and there was this old lady who knew nothing about the runes, and she was giving amazing reading with the runes. Everyone said, "Oh my God, Margaret's brilliant." I watched, and I said, "You're not reading the runes, aren't you?" She goes, "No. What I'm doing is the runes, they're picking them, their energy's going into them, and then they're keys that show me something." And it was completely irrelevant to what the runes were, but her readings were astonishing. She said, "Yeah, but I can't do it without the runes." I said, "That's cool." I said, "That's your way of reading with them. The gods come through as you cast the stones Just the moment of casting the stones allows the messages that people need to come through.
Yeah, to me, they are very much the cosmic keys. They are the keys to many, many riddles, undoubtedly.
So does anyone watching have any questions or anything you'd like us to talk about? And it can be about things going on in the world. It can be on about ghosts and ghoulies, banshees, whatever you like. We'll see if we know anything about it. We might not. We may put it back to you guys to answer.
Right. We certainly don't have all the answers by any stretch of the imagination. Pretty quiet out there. That's okay. That is all right.
It's dropped off. There was 12 last time. Look, now there's 4. What's going on? Does that include me and you, Kels?
I don't think we count, but Jana does have a question here. Let me go ahead and put that up. Let me find it. What is the Norns' role in war and victory or loss? And do they help heroes in a personal way if asked? That's a great question.
So
hey, Jeremy.
My view on that is people's orlog is woven before you're born. But the orlog is like the ingredients you get to make a cake. So the Norns will give you eggs, flour, milk, water, raisins. Some people can make a cake. Some people make biscuits. Some people don't know how to cook. That's your orlog. But if there's an event, there'll be in the sagas, sometimes you'll see warriors go to visit the Norns or leave offerings to the Norns so the Nornians are favorable upon the outcome. Or they'll visit someone and say, and the Norns will say, this is already written. Or there's a couple of sagas where they are given tasks to do to change the will of the Norns. To, put their case to the Norns, why they shouldn't pass over. You know, so it is written in destiny, but it also can be changed by service and going directly to talk to the Norns. And that actually brings me back into the idea of a banshee. A banshee is a washerwoman who's washing the clothes. A banshee, the scream of the banshee is the sound of a woman who's lost her child. But the banshee herself is the washerwoman by the river who washes the clothes of the next person to die. And if you see the washerwoman by the river and she turns and looks at you, that's your clothes and there's nothing you can do about it. But if you see her and you can creep up on her from behind, you have the right to take your life back. So that's an old Celtic tradition, you know, whether it's true or not, that's what they believed. So
it's changing your contract.
Yeah. You know, and it's so with the warriors we talk about Valkyries on the battlefield. If you see a Valkyrie, you're already dead.
Yeah.
They've already gone to come over. But are the Valkyries part of the Nornians? Are they sent by the Nornians? Do they work in service of the Nornians? Because the Nornians cast your orlog. You know, and that orlog is why not so much about going till Valhalla, because actually when warriors die in the Havermouth, it is Freya who picks the first half of the heroes. And they'll go to Folkvang, the place of family and children and clan. And then Odin gets the second half. But our ancestors, Celts and Norse, all believed that if it was your destiny to die that day, there was nothing you could do about it. And there's one of the Havermouth, one of the stanzas says, you can hide in a hole your whole life, but death will find you one day.
Right.
You know? So, and that's about trusting the orlog and the will of the Norns, and what will be, will be. But I especially don't ask the runes every 5 minutes a question. I work in service of the gods, and I'll ask the gods to watch over me, and may I be worthy of what they deserve me to have. So I live my life the way I want to live it, and I'll make decisions on my behalf, not in the name of the gods, but I hope they're smiling on what I do. If they don't, they'll let me know. It is only when I'm absolutely stuck that I will go to the Norns or I will go to the runes to ask a question. And now more on my shamanic path, I'm more likely to go to the caves of the Norns and sit with them and ask about a situation. So what do I do in this situation? And it will give me the past, the present, and the future around that. And from that, I will then make my decision on the wisdom that they've given me.
You know, I'd like to tack on, and I know we have a question in the chat, but before we go there, Susan, I wanted to chat a little bit about the history of the Norns and how the Norns were participated in the cultures back in the day, right? And they would do that through women practicing the art of seether.
Yep.
Where the Nornians would come and channel messages. And, you know, long ago when Jeremy and I first met, we were actually in the process of creating a high seat ceremony where you honor in the richness of the regalia and the history of the past, how devout it was to be blessed by the presence of the Norns, right? How people would be honored to be in their presence and receive their messages. And within that, Susan, they would give their offerings, right? And in the traditional ways, that would have been sacrificial meats or berries or things of that nature. I actually work with my hair as an offering for the Norns in today's world. But back in the day, through the work of seether and the high seat ceremonies, it was a very ritualistic honor to be in their presence.
Yeah, and there was these women were Volvers, they were called. The skill was seether, to talk with the Norns or any of the gods or the deads and bring their voices into Midgard. But they would travel from village to village, and there would be the main one, the Volva, and she would have attendees. She would sit on the high seat in her purple cloak with wolf fur lining and cat skin gloves. Cat skin gloves, obviously not very popular these days.
Right.
But, you know, and then she would do the ceremony, and she would go over to the other side and speak to the Norns or transmute into the Nornians and bring messages back for those on the other side. You could ask a question, or she may call you out of the audience directly.
Yeah.
But to me, it had to be completely as authentic as you can possibly make it. You know, and we actually went to a high seat ceremony in Seattle. I don't want to slate anybody, but it wasn't very authentic.
Right. Yeah.
And it felt completely wrong, you know. And these people didn't even really know the runes. And I thought that was an important part of knowing your path, to understand the language of the gods and the messages.
Absolutely. I think the runic path is a deep part of that. And if you don't understand the runes, I don't know if you can really tap in thoroughly to the Nornian energy and what seether and being a vulva would be about. But that's, again, my opinion.
Yeah. And also I was getting back to I had another client ask this the other day about offerings. If something is really serious and I want to do something, my number one offering is I will draw my blood. Now, she said to me, is menstrual blood or moon blood okay? And I'm a man, and there's a different energy between moon blood and cutting your finger and drawing your own blood. Yeah. There's a sacrifice that's involved in drawing your own blood. And she actually said, oh my God, I've never drawn my own blood. I said, oh, I'm terrified. I said, well, you just have to take a pin. You don't have to get a knife. Some people will use a knife, and draw your own blood. You're drawing your lifeblood for the gods. Now, I don't know if the women here see that as different, see their moon blood as, I'm not a woman, so I can't make the decision. But for me, that's very different energy.
I think it's an individual interpretation. I mean, whatever that may be for them, an individual in their process, a woman in their process. But I do, you know, in regards to working with the Norns and asking them things and then weaving whatever it is that they're going to weave, be cautious in what we ask for. Yeah. Because it's a give and take. They can be very stern, they can be very harsh, and they can deliver. So we want to be really mindful. We're not just asking and working with them on a very frivolous thing. When we're talking about big things, we want to be very respectful and mindful of it. We should heed caution.
I had a vision a long time ago. It was like a dream vision before I was spiritual. And it took me back to a beach in Wales when I grew up, where actually my magical path first began. And there was an old woman on the beach. And if you look at what a Welsh authentic outfit looks like, it is the archetypal witch with a pointy hat and the shawl and sitting there. And she was sitting with a weaving machine, what's it called? A weaving wheel?
The weaving wheel. Yeah. Completely lost, but I know I see it.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and she's sitting there, and she said, I know what you've come here for. And I said, what's that? She said, it's coming in on the waves. And it was a bottle with a message inside, Loom. There you
Yes,
go.
thank you.
And
Spinning wheel.
spinning wheel, that's the one.
Yeah.
And there was a cork in the bottle. And she said, do you want to open it? I said, why? What's inside? She goes, oh, it's nothing too important. I said, what's that? She goes, it's the time and place of your death.
Hmm.
And I just threw it back in the sea and I went, no, I don't want to know that.
Right.
So, you know, how much do you want to know? What do you want to know about the future? We want to know, we want to have guidance is what we want around situations. We don't want to know absolutes because then that takes out the excitement of life.
You know, I don't know. I think if I saw an exit, then I could choose if that's the exit I want. Right.
Right.
Reweave it. If you saw an exit, you have a choice. We were talking about it before we even started this conversation. If you were given that option, would you choose to reweave those threads?
Yeah.
You know?
I've looked at some, I don't want to know that. And I've had another old woman tell me my place, come in a pub and tell me, Shiana says that she'd want to know. You know, so it's I like the mystery of it. I could get hit by a Boeing 747 tomorrow. Who knows?
Yeah, but then if say, for instance, you saw an exit and you have this realization, but I'm not done yet. My work's not done. I have so much more to do. You can choose. Do you say, you know what? I think I want to rewrite that. I have a whole new agenda now.
There'll be a price to pay.
Right. Something.
You decide what the price to pay is.
Yeah.
You know, I've had several people come to see me who are passing. You know, and one of them is a true story. A woman. I talk about this in one of my rune classes. Actually, that when a certain 3 runes came up. For those of you who know the runes, the woman came to see me and she wanted to know if her cancer treatment in Budapest would work. And she picked 3 stones and she cast Rado upside down, Uraz upside down, and Burkana reversed. And I said, no, it's not going to do anything for you. Your time has come. And she says, there's nothing I can do. And her husband come in. She said, well, you're the only one who's ever said that. And I said, sorry, mate, can you say, when I gave her Rado to enjoy the journey. And she went off and she went to Budapest. She spent her £40,000 and she still passed. And he came in to see me and said, you're the only one that said the truth. And I said, well, I didn't say the truth. She picked those runes. I was just translating them for her. But now I see him, he comes to see me and I see his boys. I'm always giving them runes because we have a responsibility. If the Nornians or Odin or Freya show us something, we speak what it says in the runes. That's why I walk this path. Yeah. Some people will have a hard time translating it and saying those things. But for me, it's important that I do that.
Well, they speak truths and they're not always the easiest thing. And as Drema says, you know, we all have free will from each moment, and her free will in that moment, that individual, she had a message given to her, but she needed to explore that hope, right? The hope of maybe this will give me more time. So we all make it.
And it's that part of most of us in this group, people who are listening, either feel or know without a shadow of a doubt that it doesn't end in this existence. Yeah. You know, but for a lot of people who live in the outside world, death for them is final. For me, I know that's not the case. Yeah. And I can say that with absolute certainty, but somebody who's never experienced what I've experienced will struggle to believe that. So it's each our own journey, what we think that is.
Right. And mindful of that, our understandings aren't everyone's. And so when we're sharing our experiences or our thoughts, it can be upsetting to others I mean, I've experienced that myself in my own sharing. And so we've just got to lean into what our truths are.
You know, I mean, I would do walks on the land in Glastonbury and I've had some people in tears because I told them what I thought. I said, listen, this is just it's just my truth, not the absolute truth. Right. You can believe whatever you like, but I'm just sharing my truth with you, and I'll share many truths on that journey. But this reality isn't the only one, as far as I'm concerned. That's my truth. You know.
Well, well, you could even just, I don't know if you want to go there, but you could even talk about the reality that you were in last night when you got pulled from it. So we have these parallel timelines, these dream states that we can get in where we're in altered realities of what is now. That happens all the time.
I'll share what happened to me last night. So there's sometimes I do shamanic visions, and sometimes I have dreams, and sometimes I go to different dimensions, and it is as real as I'm sitting here with Kelli and we're talking. And my partner woke me up because I was shouting out, no, stop in the vision. I said, oh my God, that was strange. And I was like with a group of 10 soldiers, and I was their commander, and we're in the woods looking for something. We've gone to this hut and we're cleaning down our weapons. And there's a girl with us, and she looks through the window, and there's this weird guy looking at her. And we've heard that there's been some murders in the woods, and the part of our role is to go and search out what's doing this. I'm feeling a beast-like energy in the woods. And then the young soldiers see this weird guy looking through the window, and they all run out to kill him. And he's hobbling away. He's not quite right. He's handicapped in some way. And I knew it wasn't him. And I knew there was some sort of beast in the woods behind us. And I'm shouting, no, so loud. I woke my partner up. And she touched me. And I just said to her, wow, you pulled me back from that dimension really quickly. I was just woof, back into this dimension. And I knew that that wasn't a dream.
Right.
What's Dream saying?
We were talking about speaking our truth prior to that story, and she says that even saying your truth, each person can perceive a different reality from that information from the same story, all depending on where we are on our journey and what we're here to learn. So absolutely. And we have to be, just on that thread, is we have to be cognizant of that and not feel judged or ridiculed. It's just everybody's level of interpretation and understanding is very different. There's no right or wrong.
Yeah, we were talking about history and how history is portrayed, and how I look to the actual events of what happened, where they were, the maps, the lands, the names. This must have happened here because it's the nearest place and stuff. What gets written down is a report of the events by somebody who may have had some sort of, what's the word, influence over how it came, and been prejudiced to how that stories got written down. And those things in history frustrate me because we're never going to learn unless we get it right. And that's down to personal interpretations as well. I've said things about history which somebody's read and studied at university. Yeah, exactly, Dreamer. And they didn't like what I said. It was the perception of, no, this is where it is, this is where it is, and this, because these are the places, this is there. And they walked off because it didn't fit their reality of what things happen.
Well, and then therein lies the ability to have conversation without rash, terrible judgments towards each other. It's like, this is your belief, this is my belief, and we can have this conversation and walk our separate ways, versus sometimes the ugliness that can come from speaking our truths.
I worked with a guy in America. He used to come into the shop, the same shop I met you in, Kells, and we used to call him the Bear Man because he had a grizzly bear claw about this big around his neck. And he was a Vietnam vet, and he was getting paid by the government because he'd been poisoned with Agent Orange. And so he was really out there. And we were talking about when I was a kid, my hero was Davy Crocker and diving at the Alamo. And he didn't die at the Alamo. He was in prison for 12 years in Mexico City, and the US government wouldn't pay the ransom because he was too dangerous. He would have been president if he made it back, and they just let him die there. And it just completely changed my perception on the story of Davy Crockett.
Right.
It was better for the world for Davy Crockett to die in the Alamo and go down in history rather than come back and be a surefire certainty to become president. And it's just, again, they just sort of, I don't know if he's speaking the truth or not, but it made me think.
Well, and I think that's the key, right? Is to think. And that's a big thing for me. I have lots of questions. There's nothing that crosses my path that I'm not questioning these days. It's like, if you're going to tell me that, fine. Let me lean into what are the truths. To me, that's so important, especially in today, in all days and ages, but especially in today's world. It's like, I want to know the truth. It's like this constant pecking and knocking at my door. What is the truth? What is the truth?
Well, I think that might be the case as we mentioned monkeypox.
Right. Ay, 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 ay.
And I saw her face, and now I'm a believer.
I don't know. It's so wild.
Yeah. And it's that thing. We don't know what to believe, do we? We just have to sit back and go, okay. You know. And once again, I think this is where, when we're empaths, we can take in too much. So that's why we step away and just go, okay, this is mine. The sun's shining, the trees are green, the waves are crashing on the beach. I'm lucky to be in this moment.
Yeah, and you got to get outside. I mean, to that point, being outside and away from all of this. I mean, all of this is important in today's world. It serves its purpose. But man, a nice walk.
The world we live in, and we have to do that re-grounding, they call it, don't they? Re-earthing.
Yeah. You know, the earthing, taking off your shoes and socks and really connecting and walking. When I was living, the last place that I was living, there was a young man who walked constantly, rain or shine, with his bare feet.
It's funny because I've tried. I have the most sensitive feet in the world.
Yeah.
If I try and walk in bare feet, it would probably take me 3 months to get to the top of Glastonbury because of the stones.
Right, but back in the day, you know, what were shoes? Nothing.
Yeah,
like,
you didn't have shoes. I mean, Julie's mum, who lived in the west coast of Ireland, as she's passed now, she didn't get a pair of shoes until she was 14.
I love it.
Just bare feet all the time.
Then you feel what's really going on. You feel the energy. You feel the vibrations. You know when something's going off and when something feels really good just by the vibration. And on another thing, and I know we're going to tap into the runes. We've already been talking for 40 minutes. Today's a day that we could probably talk, or 30 minutes or so. We could talk forever. But did you see recently that they discovered the magnetic pools of the earth? Have you read that article? It was just released yesterday.
Magnetic pools or poles?
No, there's this magnetic fields that pulsate.
Pulse.
Yeah. So I was super psyched about that. Anything that has to do with energetics like that, I'm always excited to see when there's a scientific release of such, because I think that we all are altered by.
Absolutely. I mean, we were just talking about the events in the world at the moment, how it's going, and I felt off kilter for about the last week, really weird, losing balance and stuff like this. You know, back in the day, I just took a pill and getting on, but now I think there's something wrong in the atmosphere because my body can feel it.
Yeah, and then there's that question: is it wrong, or is it just what it is? You know.
Well, the animals used to be able to read that. They can read the ley lines around the planet. They know when the weather's changing. We have those sensations in the modern world, and we suppress it, and it makes us anxious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We all feel it. We all feel it. And animals, they, like you said, like if there's going to be a volcanic eruption, if there's going to be an earthquake, they know it before we do.
They're already leaving.
Yeah.
You know, the first thing when you see when there's going to be a tsunami, the birds flying inland.
Yeah. Yep.
They know it's coming.
They do.
So, should we see if anyone wants a rune question answered?
Sure. Go ahead and open the circle.
So, those who are listening, close your eyes, listen to the sound of my voice, and imagine the doorway opening. Manas, manas, manas. Me, ma, mu, mo, me. Manas, manas, manas. Am, im, om, em. Manas, manas, manas. Okay, Kels, anyone has a question, please pick 3 numbers between 1 and 24 and write your question in the message board.
Give everybody a moment here. Trying to think if I have a question. Should we ask a question about the monkeypox while we're sitting here?
Okay.
I mean, and I'm being very respectful by this. I don't ever ask the questions lightly. I would love, you know, what does the future hold for monkeypox? What is the question, Jeremy?
What do we need to know about monkeypox?
Okay, what do we need to know about monkeypox?
Kels, you can pick 3 numbers for that.
7, 12, and 24.
7, 12, and 24. 7 with the throw.
Yes.
We have Ingaz upright.
Can you move yourself? There you go. Perfect. Thank you.
Uraz upright.
Oh, interesting.
And Ansu's upside down. So Ingaz can be an enchantment, the fairy king, like a fairy story. Uraz is health, not sickness. And don't trust everything you hear and is said.
As I
You should say no more than that.
As I stroke the hairs on my chinny chin chin. Thank you for that. That's all we needed. Okay, so let's get into some questions here. Drema would like to have an open reading, please.
Okay, and the numbers are?
1, 2, and 3. And yes, you can ask questions via Facebook to Vicky.
So, Drema. Open question. That is crazy.
Oh.
And goes upright. And Sue's upside down. But Uraz, sort of 45 degrees. So it's exactly the same 3 runes from the last question. So, an open question. Now is the point.
I'm going to interrupt for a moment because she says for next week, next year, and the next 2 years. So maybe she just.
Okay, so when I work with the runes, I do 3 months ahead, and that's it.
Okay.
I'll tell you what it means now, because the world changes in a year, the world changes in 3 years. You know, if I was giving you advice for that, I'd tell you to work with Kenaz to seek truth on your journey. So, but this is whatever you want to do it now. Stop talking about it. And if there's something you know, don't speak up. Be silent. And make sure you've got enough energy for whatever it is you're doing. Okay, so I'm going to really mix these up now and hope we don't get the same 3 runes again.
Oh, interesting. All right. I love it when those things happen. That was always fascinating. Okay, so the next question would be from Megan. And her question is, should we just like a general reading?
Okay. What do the runes want to show Megan? And the numbers are?
13, 12, and 4.
Now. Okay, so this is good. You have Winjo upright, success, wave your flag, claim your identity. You are on the right path. It's a time to travel and enjoy the journey. And you have Fayu laying down, which can mean either finances will be blocked, it can't be about money, or be aware about your femininity. Whatever you're going to do, the path you're going to walk may block your connection to the Freya that lives inside you. I hope that makes sense. A general reading, that was. Who else have we got?
So Caitlin, one of your students as well, would like to, what do I need to know about my focus and path right now for my career? And the numbers are 11, 17, and 3.
11, 17, and 3. So I know, Caitlin, beware of ex-partners. Put your needs above everybody else's, because you will be coming under attack. Now, this is telling you what to do. So you need to make yourself a helm or wear thuras and put it around your neck to know that your ex-partner will affect you in some way or another coming in the future.
Jeremy, can you hold up the first rune? I had a lag. I don't know if everybody else did. There we go. Perfect. I just wanted to make sure she could see that.
It was Awaz pointing towards the past.
Okay. Thank you.
So it's like an ex-partner.
All right. Perfect.
So forewarned is forearmed. So prepare for it.
Yeah.
Okay, who's next?
All right. Vicky has a question. Why do I feel such a strong calling towards the UK? Was in Glastonbury twice this year, and each time I'm in the UK, I feel like I can finally breathe. Why do I feel drawn to it? Am I meant to move to the UK? There's a lot of questions here. So am I meant to move to the UK? What's my connection and mandate to the land? And what am I supposed to do there? So I'll have Jeremy summarize that for you. The runes are 3, 15, and 18.
So we're just going to ask 3, 15, and 18.
Yes.
What is my destiny around Avalon? So you have Thoraz on its edge, but facing down. Okay. So that we also go there.
Perfect. Yeah.
Then we have Perthrow upside down. And then we have Nalthese. So this is something to do with a past life, a birthing. There's connections that haven't been tied here. There's work for you still to do over something that happened to you in the past, though where you may have been persecuted in some way. But the draw to it is to come here and resolve those issues that makes you whole. The reason you feel so good is when you come here, you're back on the path you're doing. You had a riddle set you in your last life and you didn't get to solve it. And you may have been here in your last life, I don't know. But when you come back, you think, now the possibility is that I can solve that riddle and put whatever that is right. So think about working with Rado and finding a way to be here. If you can be here for just a year or a year and a day, that's the old contract. So if they could, the message can be clear, so you can resolve the issues and really get working on your path. And when we talk about Glastonbury, it was like a Druid university for men and women for up to 5,000 years before Stonehenge was built. So, you know, we're talking a lot of time. Okay, who's next, Kels?
Well, Drema has a clarification. So she said that the numbers that she was referring to earlier was for the monkeypox question. So Drema, the numbers you've selected now are 7, 12, and 24. Just wait before you do that, Jeremy. And your questions, what was your question? Just a general reading. Can you just confirm that for me?
Yeah, I think Drema? It was. We read it, but there's
okay. Yep, sorry about the confusion.
We have Sewello, we have Othello, and we have Issa. So what you have is Sewello, the very best rune that can outweigh everything else, but it also has Issa, the worst rune in the worst possible position, frozen in. And it's around some sort of family dispute. You feel like you're stuck, you feel like you're frozen, but the sun is going to shine, melt that ice, and you are going to be free, and those emotions will start to flow again. Probably a dispute from the past because Othello is blocked but facing towards the past. So that's what it wants you to think about. And when I say a dispute in the family, the clan, the tribe, not feeling home, inheritance, all those things come up when we're talking about Othello. All right, bless you, sister.
Well, I think we're way off. So, Drema, I'm not sure where the confusion is, so I apologize. But we're gonna pop on here. Elizabeth, you are next here. Elizabeth Dole. What am I meant to be doing?
What are we way off with there, Kels?
Well, she just says no in her hand. She's got an emoji with her hand to her forehead. Anyway. I see. Okay. Sorry, guys. We're just going to clarify this.
Okay. I think she was going no like that because of the Issa blocked.
Okay. So I'm confused. So I apologize. But she was saying her reading was good. Okay. I see. Sorry about that. Goodness gracious. Kelli needs to get back into the world here, apparently. All right. Elizabeth.
Yep.
What am I meant to be doing to be on purpose with my life? 6, 13, and 17.
17. What am I meant to be doing to add purpose to my life?
What am I meant to be doing to be on purpose with my life?
Okay. So you have Ingaz the right way up. which is the realm, what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be doing it, but it's the realm of the Fae. You have Rado, the right way up. So you're supposed to be walking the path of the plants, the forest, the green beings, the elvic races. But you have this, that either under attack from others or persecution from others, or not feeling you can do it yourself and you anxious about the path you're supposed to be working. So the purpose is to honor the land wights, the land spirits, the children of the forest and the plants and the plant medicine. But there's a barrier that either somebody's putting up between you or you are putting up yourself. But that is the path you're supposed to walk. And sometimes that obstacle that's blocking you, the Thoraz reversed on the path. It's a Native American saying that sometimes there's an obstacle on your path. Sometimes the obstacle is the path. So see that as a teaching lesson. But you must find your way back to the knowledge of the forest. Hope that helps, sister.
All right.
Who's next? I think is Aram got a reading?
We've got, yeah, we do. We have Angela first.
Cool.
She's asking for general reading 2, 7, and 22.
2, 7, and 22. Okay, Angela, you have Awaz the right way up. You have Perthrow in the womb position, and you have Sawello upright. So Perthrow in the womb position is like the normally taking attention to something being birthed, the end of birthing, menopause and that. But you have Awaz upright and Sawello next to it. It's like you're about to be birthed into a new life, and it is all good. Partnership and progress, regardless of whether it's romantic or not. There would have been another one for romantic, but it is a soulmate rune, so bear that in mind. But by the end of the summer, everything and your new destiny will be birthed. Help, sister.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. All right, Miss Arami, you're next. A general reading, please.
Okay, and the numbers are
6, 19, and 22.
6, 19, and 22. So, Arami, you have Yara up the right way. You have Sawello again, but it's blocked. And you have Kenaz reversed. A general reading. The effort you're putting in is bringing rewards and you like it. But the sun is blocked. It's going to be good, but there's a cloud come across. Feel like you're delayed on your path and you're thinking, oh no, it's a grey cloud, but the sun's still behind it. It's going to shine again. And also, keep looking back in the path to yourself. Also, don't deceive yourself. Don't imagine monsters where there's not, but you want to find the truth, look behind you. Okay? I hope that helps.
All right. We have one more.
Louis?
Yep. Louis Romano, can I have an open reading, please? Yep. 3, 16, and 21.
Okay, I'm still putting them back out.
Yep. That's a quick one on that. Quick draw.
3, 16, and
21.
All three are standing on their edge.
Oh, wow. That's unusual.
So you have Othello upside down. You have Rado upside down tilted. And you have Issa on its side. If you're looking in this world, you don't know where home is. You're on the wrong path. You're stuck in a rut. But if we change that and we say that Othello upside down is your ancestors and Rado is telling you to walk the path before and Issa is the shaman, you find your identity when you follow the path of your ancestors to the future. The truth of the future is in the past. It all depends which way you see that, whether it's a conflict of not knowing where you are, cast out, and you have to go back to where you came because you're on the wrong path and you need to be on your own, or it makes more sense on the shamanic side. That's for you to decide, brother. All right, thanks for asking.
Wow. Powerful reads. I think that's it. And Drema, no problem. I think I could have
we got there in the end.
Pardon me?
I think we got there in the end, didn't we, Dreamer?
We did. Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. So, as always, these are powerful conversations and fun.
So thanks for tuning in to Talking with Wizards, and we'll see you next time. Until then, I want to close the class with a prayer. So if you're tuning in, close your eyes, listen to the sound of my voice. Innovol, 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 fava. Innovol, 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 fava. Innovol, 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 fava. I call on the handmaidens of Avalon. I call on Odin and Freya. I call on the Norns. I thank them for allowing me to gather around the fire with the members of this tribe, to share wisdom, to share stories, to share thoughts. I thank Freya and Odin for allowing me to cast the runes to guide those who gathered in their lights. And until we meet again, may we work in the service of the gods. May we work with the blessing of the land whites. May we honor our ancestors and be protected by all three. Until we gather again. Yibarathu. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Bless you all.
Thanks all.